It was a time of prohibition and organized crime was rampant in Chicago. The city was controlled by powerful gangs, with one man sitting at the top of the food chain. The boss of bosses, the kingpin of the Chicago outfit. He was a man feared by many, a man who had it all: money, power, and influence. He was untouchable. Or so he thought. The man's name was never mentioned, his identity a mystery to many, but his reputation preceded him. He had the entire city in his grip, with his hands in every illegal business in the city, from bootlegging to gambling, and even prostitution. The authorities had been trying to catch him for years, but their efforts had been in vain. He was smart, cunning, and knew how to evade the law. But the authorities were not about to give up. They were determined to catch him, no matter what it took. It was only a matter of time before they got a breakthrough. A team of dedicated IRS agents, led by Frank Wilson, had been assigned to investigate the kingpin's finances. They discovered that he had been evading taxes for years, and they had enough evidence to put him behind bars. On the 16th of October 1931, the kingpin was finally caught. He was charged with tax evasion and sentenced to 11 years in prison. But this was just the beginning of his downfall. The kingpin was none other than Al Capone, the most notorious gangster in American history. He was sent to the infamous Alcatraz prison, where he was stripped of his power and influence. His health began to deteriorate, and he was diagnosed with syphilis of the brain. He spent the last year of his sentence confused and disoriented. Capone completed his term in Alcatraz on January 6, 1939, and was transferred to the Federal Correctional Institution at Terminal Island in California to serve out his sentence for contempt of court. He was paroled on November 16, 1939, after his reduced mental capabilities were brought to light by his wife May. The main effect of Capone's conviction was that he ceased to be bossed immediately on his imprisonment. But those involved in the jailing of Capone portrayed it as considerably undermining the city's organized crime syndicate. Capone's underboss, Frank Nitti, took over as boss of the outfit after he was released from prison in March 1932, having also been convicted of tax evasion charges. Far from being smashed, the outfit continued without being troubled by the Chicago police, but at a lower level and without the open violence that had marked Capone's rule. Prostitution, labor union racketeering, and gambling became moneymakers for organized crime in the city without incurring serious investigation. In the late 1950s, FBI agents discovered an organization led by Capone's former lieutenants reigning supreme over the Chicago underworld. Capone's legacy lives on to this day as one of the most notorious gangsters in American history. His story serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and influence, and the consequences that come with breaking the law.